I list two things here. External sector. Two. Number one, international trade. Number two, international investment. Trade and investment. Two things. Both are international, meaning crossing the border, the national border. First, take international trade. There are three things under international trade. Number one, export. Number two, imports. Number three, re-export. So, re-export, we call it entrepot. Entrepot. Get it? Yeah, entrepot. What is entrepot? It's a port, city, or other center to which goods are brought for import and export, and for collection and distribution. Hong Kong has been long a entrepot between East and West. Singapore also, Hong Kong, Singapore. Whether that import and export, you see, import and export not really consumed in that country. That's why Singapore, let's go to Google Map. All the ships must go through this Straits of Malacca. This is the Straits of Malacca. Yeah, Malacca Straits. Malaysia, this is a part of Indonesia, and stop here in Singapore. Because this is the shortest distance from west to east, or east to west for the ship. Otherwise, no, this is the shortest one. In the world, there are two important canals in the world that facilitate international trade. Canal is built, man-made. So this is Suez Canal, Suez. You see here Suez in Egypt. Suez Canal. This is the canal, man-made, not natural. This is natural, and this man-made. The Port Said in Egypt, that cut the distance of travel. Otherwise, the ship from the United Kingdom must go all the way down to southern Africa, southern tip of Africa, just to go to, for example, to Pakistan or India, or very far. But with this canal, cut the distance. Another one is Panama Canal. This Panama. Yes, built, man-made. Otherwise, a ship, say from New York, this New York, wants to go to East Asia, to here, to this part of, must travel very far, go all the way down and come back again, for example, just to go to there. So Singapore has been an entrepot. What is entrepot activity? Entrepot activity is import and export. Not just import, but import for export again outside. Coming in and going out. That's entrepot. And Singapore has been playing that role until today. For example, Malaysia's main trading partner has been Singapore, either number 1 or number 2. In the past, in 1980s or late 1980s, in 1990s and early 1990s, and in end of the year, I mean early parts of 2000, early part only, main trading partner for trade, for Malaysia was, this is in the past, okay, Singapore and USA. Always Singapore and USA. Either Singapore number 1, USA number 1, switching. That was the past from 80s, 90s, early part of 2000s. Today, in the year 2020s, perhaps in the year since 2000, mid 2000, we can say since 2016, or main trading partner of today for Malaysia is China and Singapore. China and Singapore, always Singapore, from day 1 until today, Singapore. Only change. In the past, USA with Singapore and USA. Now Singapore and China, the main trading partner. Why Singapore? Because products from Malaysia exported to Singapore already recorded as export to Singapore. Are the products being consumed in Singapore? No. The products from Malaysia exported to Singapore only going through Singapore to go to other places. So Singapore is really an entrepot. Why? Going through the port of Singapore because of the connectivity of the port of Singapore. Once you're in the port of Singapore, you can go everywhere faster and cheaper, connected to everywhere, the shipping lines. That's why products of Malaysia, a lot of them, going through Singapore and going out again. That's entrepot. Singapore, what is Singapore today? Because of the locational advantage, natural locational advantage. The location of Singapore makes it Singapore today. all the ships must go through here, the shortest distance. And it is at the tip, not this Port Klang in Malaysia. There's a Port Klang also in Malaysia, port here in Malaysia. Port Klang, this big port, but cannot compete with Singapore as a port, because it is the place to stop everything, you know, like rest area. But you know, in the past, sort of rest area, that's where the ships stop and refueling everything. So the network grow, and Singapore became a very important port. As a result, the backward linkages we studied earlier in the class, the backward linkages. Backward linkages, yes. With the ship, the ports as the mother of Singapore's economy, the mother at that time. From the ship industry, you know, shipping industry, came insurance, came financial backing, food, services, everything else. The mother was the shipping industry. That was Singapore. What happened if long time ago, in 1960 or 1970, there was a talk already, long time ago, 60s, 70s, that Thailand would make a canal here. A canal. Suppose in 1965, Thailand built a canal here. 1965. Suppose today, Singapore would be nothing. Singapore will not be Singapore like today if there was a canal here. Because once the canal is here, no ship will come here. Ship from west to east, east to west will just go here. Through this area here will become a big international city, financial center, maybe one of the biggest city in the world. Suppose that's why this is my side story. Okay, I observed some time ago the Secretary of Defense of the United States. Secretary of Defense is like Defense Minister of the United States, would fly and visit Singapore and fly over Malaysia without stopping in Malaysia, skip Malaysia and fly to Bangkok. And I think this is what he from the US tell Bangkok: please do not dig, please do not make canal, because you know, this United States, really, this is Singapore, you know, is very important. It's very important for United States. It's like a baby of United States. So I suspect, my own saying only, please always keep reminding, of course not the word please, because United States is a big power. You Thailand, you should not dig, you should not make a canal here. Yeah, like that. Only my drama, okay? Alright. So Hong Kong also an entrepot.
So
Anything?
Professor, sorry to interrupt. May I know from your Hong Kong or Singapore more?
I cannot hear you. It's not clear.
Okay, okay. I mean, I was muted. Okay.
It's not clear. What is the question
You
again?
prefer Hong Kong or Singapore as an extrovert?
Both. I finished Singapore. Now I'm going to Hong Kong to that story about Hong Kong.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I finished in Singapore as an entrepreneur, and I brought the example of Malaysia. Trading partner is always Singapore. And why? Is it because product 5 million people, long time ago 5 million, now maybe 6 million people only in Singapore. Huge number of export from Malaysia, very huge number. 6 million people in Singapore use, eat, wear Malaysia's product. No, Malaysia's product exported to Singapore, most of them is not meant for the Singaporean people to consume. It is just going through the port of Singapore because of the facility, good facility. Yes, because of the network. Once you in Singapore, the shipping network here, there, you can go to Rotterdam, you can go to New York, you can go anywhere in the world. Once you are in Singapore port, that's why product from Malaysia come to Singapore only going through the port of Singapore. Product from Malaysia will come over the land, by land, by truck, and go here to Singapore port. Of course, the moment it passes the boundary, it is recorded as export. But all those lorries and yes. Can you see this again? Sorry about the. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. After the handover in 1997, Hong Kong is known as Hong Kong SAR, Hong Kong Special Administrative Region. So let's go back to the map and how that Hong Kong, and also you must know 2001 China WTO. You must know two facts. When China became 143rd member of WTO, World Trade Organization, in 2001. Well, this World Trade Organization started in 1995. This is World Trade Organization. And it began in 1995, January 1st, 1995. That's when WTO came to be. Successor to GATT. General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, GATT. It was proposed. GATT is a General Agreement on Tariff to reduce tariff. Became a mechanism for trade liberalization in the world. It was proposed at first ITO. That's the name of singer. Ito. International. Yes, it was proposed this one. ITO. But it was not ratified by US Congress. US being a powerful country, the Congress did not ratify, did not sign, did not approve. The Congress of America, United States. So as a result, ITO never materialized, never happened. So as a result, a de facto agreement at that time, de facto, this is French word, it's always used in English, French or Latin, meaning in reality, that's the meaning, but it is usually contrasted with the jure, means a law of official. So a de facto, okay, de facto agreement already existing, already available at the time, because ITO never happened. So a de facto agreement at that time became the being accepted as the mechanism to oversee, to supervise, oversee, okay, the running of international trade in the world, especially with regard to the reduction of tariff. When we say liberalize, liberalization, trade liberalize is to open up economies for trading, to reduce, dismantle all barriers, especially quota. Quota, it is eliminated. At first, replaced the quota to become a tariff. And that tariff can be negotiated to lower down. What is a quota? Quota is the number restriction. For example, only 100 Mercedes-Benz only can be imported to this country. 100 is given a number. Of course, not true. I'm just making up. So the number is set. Only 1,000 units of this can come to this country. After that, cannot. That's a quota. Fixed the number. Tariff, on the other hand, the number is not fixed. Can be many, as long as you want to buy. But the percentage of that price, it is set for what we call import duty. For example, every TV, every whatever item, for example, this is a camera, for example. Every camera that comes to this country is subjected to 10% import duty. So if I bring in a 100 ringgit camera, I will have to pay 10 ringgit as an import duty, 10%. How many? Doesn't matter. No restriction on the number of unit. So that's the difference between quota. Quota restriction. Only 20,000 of this camera can come into this country. Only 20,000 units. That's quota. So quota must be according to GATT. And that's the way for liberalization, because quota is more restrictive. But it's restrictive, stopping from coming. More restrictive. Quota is more restrictive compared with a tariff. Because tariff, no limits on the number of units, but quota limit. 1,000 pair of Adidas, 1,000 only. Beyond that, cannot come in. So very, very restrictive for trade. Big barrier, quota. Quota must be changed to tariff. And tariff will be negotiated to go down. That was the role of GATT through many, many rounds. Since 1947 until 1994, GATT. Geneva round, Annecy round, Turkey round, Geneva round again, Dylan round, Kennedy round, Tokyo round, and the last one, Uruguay round. Uruguay launched in Uruguay. Uruguay round was the final round of GATT before GATT was discontinued. This was launched in 1986. No success. Launch 1986. The largest ever international trade negotiation to reduce tariff. The reduction of process is reciprocal. Negotiation is reciprocal. Okay, you negotiate. How much? Okay, now I'm offering to reduce tariff. My country offer to you to reduce tariff 5% on car, 5% on shirt, 20% on rice. How much you want to reduce tariff for me, for my country? Negotiate like that, reciprocal. I give you, you offer me back. You negotiate. That's what we call reciprocal. Reciprocal. Tariff. Negotiate. So, what's the meaning of reciprocal? Yeah, this because I want to make sure you understand the meaning reciprocal. Given. So the meaning is too general here. Reciprocal means that, okay, like a son, for example, okay, a baby, a child, and the father. The child's crying. Okay, stop crying. If you stop crying, I'll give you ice cream. Just negotiation between a child, maybe 5 years old, child and a father. Stop crying. Stop. If you stop, I'll give you ice cream. So what is the father is offering to give ice cream? What the child is giving in that negotiation is to stop crying. Okay, give ice cream. One ice cream given. That boy cries again. Cry. Why? He wants another 2 ice cream. Then give another ice cream, he stop crying. See? It's like a negotiation, right? Same. Trade negotiation. The country A offer this. Okay, what you want to offer? The country A, once he's offer, I reduce tariff for this product, and what you're gonna reduce? Offer me. Ask the country B, what you're gonna offer me? Which product? My products that you're gonna reduce tariff. That kind of reciprocal tariff negotiation. So get the last round is Uruguay round. Never finish that Uruguay round. Never having an agreement until the 11th hour. This is in English, okay? 11th hour. Until the 11th hour to meet the deadline. 11th hour usually means this. December 31st or any, can be January, can be February, but usually just for the sake of understanding, for you to understand, 2359. Okay, this is the deadline for countries to agree and to come up with agreement. They never met the deadline. Even at the 11th hour, which is the deadline is December 31st, last day of the year, at 11:59, before January 1st next year, at 00:01. This is the 11th hour, December 31st, 11:59 at night. Example of 11th hour. Until the 11th hour, the Uruguay round did not complete. Disagreement between countries, especially disagreement between developed countries, rich countries, developed countries, same, or usually developed countries, rich countries. They disagree on what? You may be surprised. Disagree on agriculture. the US pointing at Europe, European Union, pointing at European Union. You, European Union, you have CAP. You have common agriculture policy. You, Europe, European Union, you have common agriculture policy that give subsidy to your farmers, thus making your product, agriculture product, cheaper. And coming to America, it's not fair. Your product is cheaper because you give money, you give subsidies to your farmers. That's what United States blame European Union. European Union also blame United States. United States, you have so many subsidies to your farmers. That's why it's not fair. The competition is not fair. Your wheat coming to this country, your soybean coming to this country because you subsidize your farmers, make the cost lower, and you can sell cheaper, coming to our country and destroying our soybean farming, destroying our wheat farming. So they're fighting over agriculture. That's one of the main reasons for Uruguay round never completed that round until finally they put a stop on that. Okay, we agree to disagree, and we gonna KIV, keep in view, and settle our differences later on in another forum. And then the Uruguay round started in 1986, never finished until they agreed to discontinue that round, and they met at Marrakesh in April 1994. Marrakesh in Morocco. Morocco, Marrakesh. They met here. Marrakesh, Morocco. In April 1994, they met in Marrakesh. They signed. Who are they? The trade ministers of how many countries? 100 over countries. More than 100 countries. Okay. In Marrakesh, 15 April 1994, the ministers, trade ministers, including from Malaysia, how many countries? 100 over countries. We don't have to remember that. They signed the final act embodying the results of the Uruguay round of multilateral trade negotiation. Yes, the word multilateral, it means many, many ways. Lateral means ways, direction, direction. Many, many countries. Multilateral, many countries involved. Bilateral, by only two. Unilateral, one. Bilateral, two. Trilateral, three. Multilateral, many, many countries negotiated that. So they signed this. Long the name, the final act. That's why they do it. Number two, they did that in Marrakesh. They agreed to start a new forum, a new, not only forum, a new organization that will supervise international trade and also became the, just like before, GATT was not only trade reduction, as a tariff reduction, and this one also for tariff reduction, which is liberalization. I better spell for you. What is liberalization? Removal or reduction of restriction, like quota, remove quota, and reduce tariff. That's trade liberalization. This final act. So in Marrakesh, two things. They signed this agreement, the act, the final act. Final act. You can think of final act as a law or final act as a doing. You know, both. And another one, they agreed to start a new mechanism. Not only mechanism, a new organization called World Trade Organization, WTO, to begin the following year. The meeting was April 15, 1994, April. 6 months later, in January 1995, would start a new organization called World Trade Organization. The difference here is big. GATT was not an institution. GATT was not. GATT was only an agreement. But that agreement is binding. This agreement you sign, you're bounded by the law. And this one, more beyond that agreement, is an organization, an institution. That's very important. GATT, not institution, only agreement. WTO is an institution. Of course, agreement can come when you negotiate. It's an institution. One. Second difference, GATT was only, or having to do only with trade in goods only. Trade in goods or merchandise trade. Merchandise. When we merchandise is goods equals goods. Merchandise. not including trade in services. What is trade in services? Education. Yeah, there's trade in services. You from China, you come here, Malaysia gets the money. Tourism also trade in services. Paying royalty or paying management consultant from overseas, you pay money. Also, trade in services. Services are being traded. GET did not include this. Trade in services. Only trade in goods. In goods. When we say that, trade in goods and services, no. GET only trade in goods. When I say goods, when I say merchandise, oh, not only I, when we say merchandise, we mean goods, same. Merchandise, only merchandise. I'm trying to explain to you the meaning of merchandise. Merchandise. You can hold it, it's tangible. You can eat, you can drink, but services you cannot touch. You cannot drink services. You cannot eat services. Merchandise, only physical goods. No services. However, trade in services were becoming more and more important and large. But GET did not handle trade in services. GET handled, and it was about tariff reduction in the trade of goods only, or merchandise only. Same goods, merchandise, same thing. So WTO added that function. WTO has to do with trade in goods or merchandise, same, and trade in services too. Trade, merchandise trade, and trade in services. That's why that's under WTO. Another thing, two other things. I'm explaining now to you the difference between GET and WTO. Intellectual property rights. GET did not have to do with intellectual property protection. WTO added to that function, to its function, intellectual property rights, protecting. So if a country, for example, country A produced this product, next week, first in another country will produce a copycat, a copy of this product, Rolex watch, or new item, shirt, say new sport shirt, the original manufacturer from Germany, came out, introduced today in the on the market, global market, in just 3 days. Same thing, the counterfeited, not original, counterfeited copy one will come out from, you know which country. That's the infringement, breaking the law, infringement of the intellectual property, copying, counterfeited goods. So that country can complain to the WTO, because WTO has this function, protecting intellectual property rights. That's one more difference. First difference is now include trade in goods, include trade in services also. Previously under GATT only goods. Now with WTO, goods and services. Liberalization in good for trade in goods and services. That's number one. Number two, just now, intellectual property. Number three, investment. Liberalization in investment, global investment, international investment. And in that liberalization, through WTO, is mandated for the opening of investment should be open to all countries in the world. For example, American companies want to invest in Malaysia to do investment, whether foreign direct investment or portfolio investment, but we're talking more on foreign direct investment. A country should not stop, should liberalize according to principle of WTO. Allow American companies to invest, for example, in insurance company. You know what happened? That's why in all of this, there is a clause. In the agreement, there's always a clause. What is clause? Some caveat is given that a country is allowed to do this. For example, if there's no clause provided by the WTO, all the insurance company in the world will be owned by American companies. But in Malaysia, the reality, I think that clause is given to every country, every developing country. What is among the clause given? In insurance and banking. Take Malaysia. Citibank come from the US. Citibank can come to Malaysia, but subject to this and this. That regulation is provided by a clause in the WTO agreement, and that clause is available to every country, not just Malaysia. That a bank from overseas must be incorporated in Malaysia. Example, Standard and Chartered Bank from Hong Kong, or Citibank based in New York can open a Citibank in Malaysia, but that Citibank is not a branch of Citibank in New York. Citibank in Malaysia is Citibank Incorporated in Malaysia as a company established in Malaysia under the law of the Malaysian law and paying tax to the Malaysian government. So you can open a Citibank, but it's incorporated in Malaysia. If not using that clause, with the huge size of the money of Citibank, it can just eat, not even eat, just lick like a tongue, and finish. All the banks in Malaysia finish, will be eaten by Citibank, because Citibank has a lot of money to eat any bank in the world and finish. Other banks in the world finish, but there is some regulation, a clause of protection that's available, given by the clause under WTO agreement that yes, can come, must be incorporated in Malaysia. Otherwise, it's without the clause. See, don't get misunderstood. WTO agreement is all about liberalization. What is liberalization? Open up your country for trade. Open up your country for investment. Companies from outside can invest here. However, during negotiation, countries, especially developing countries, ask for a little exception. Yeah, that little exception. Accept. Yeah, that's what we call clause. Given this in this, okay, for the banking sector, yeah, you are allowed to put some breaks, some kind of protection in the form of what? Must be locally incorporated. Now, insurance. There's an insurance, prudential. Example. This is insurance. In Malaysia, practice two types of insurance. The insurance, conventional insurance. The other one is Islamic insurance. Islamic insurance is called Islamic way. It's called takaful. So this is a company, Prudential. Prudential is a big company in the US. Again, a big company can just, lick it like that and finish. All the Malaysian insurance company can just eat. And they want to start a takaful business in Malaysia. Even Prudential insurance come from where? Prudential was founded in London. Owned by from overseas. So in order for that Prudential to start a takaful business in Malaysia, join with BSN, Bank Simpanan National Saving Bank in Malaysia. Joint venture, Prudential, that company from overseas, with a bank in Malaysia, BSN, takaful, insurance, Islamic insurance. So that's a protection that if given everything 100% to takaful, to Prudential, nobody in Malaysia can compete with Prudential. Prudential has a lot of money. It's a global big company, and that's why some kind of clause provided by WTO to allow developing countries to put in some little restriction, little only this much. Whereas it's quite open. Any companies, insurance companies can come to Malaysia and start a business. Takaful, for example, even insurance, but with partners from Malaysia. They can maintain the majority, but there's going to be some partners from local. In this case, partner is Bank Simpanan Nasional, BSN. So that's the difference between GATT and WTO. Service added, intellectual property added to it, investment added. 3. Liberalization investment. Investment liberalization. Yes. China, you know from my lecture, what I said just now, WTO began January 1995. WTO. China, 95, okay? China 2001 joined WTO. China was not a founding member of WTO. It joined later. 6 years later, China joined. So, still going back to China, to Hong Kong story. After going so many places, we are going back to the story of Hong Kong. Why Hong Kong became an entrepot? Because up to 2001, and especially 1997, the handover of Hong Kong to China, 1997, and especially this is in June. I still remember it was in the late spring, in the late spring at that time. You were not born yet. This is the incident in Tiananmen Square that this is the famous picture on every cover page of magazine, Times magazine, Newsweek magazine, Business Week magazine, whatever magazine in the world. This is the front cover in 1989 in June. Try to stop a tank. This is in 1989. Yeah, because of that, more sanction. So we're talking about sanction stopped first in 1972, but started again, and especially so after the 1989 this incident of mostly student protesting to demand for democracy at that time. And bear in mind, the man for today's China success, the mind behind was to transform China. This is the man. He was the man that transformed China, that makes China what China is today is. The man behind the curtain, behind the curtain, this the curtain, behind, the power behind. Very little man, very small, but very powerful. So, he initiated reformation in China, economic reformation. So, United States would impose sanctions stopping companies from directly going to export products to China. Cannot. Also blocking companies from investing directly into China. To go there, must go through Hong Kong. So Hong Kong became the back door. House you have front door, back door. Yes, you go through back door to China. Go first to Hong Kong, and as a result, Hong Kong in 1980s, Hong Kong in early 1990s, still, as a result of entrepot, became a very important port, became the mother, just like Singapore. Port became the mother, shipping became the mother of the economy. Hong Kong also, ports, because of that backdoor role, became the mother of the economy. That created backward linkages to other sectors, other economic activities. Hong Kong became, just like Singapore, became a financial center. Not only that, Hong Kong became a famous producer of Hong Kong drama, Hong Kong movie, famous. But you notice that after handover, after China became a member of the WTO, the blockade of trade and investment was lifted. So no need to go to China, the trading, the goods and investment, to go to China mainland. No need to go through Hong Kong. No need to go to Hong Kong. So Hong Kong lost that role of the back door to China mainland as a result. And at the same time, with the Korean wave as a result. Example, today, Hong Kong drama, Hong Kong song, Cantonese song, Hong Kong drama, especially movies, has been taken over by Korean K-pop, Korean drama, and so on. That comes together with Hong Kong diminished, losing the role of the back door to the mainland, and together with that, in terms of Hong Kong as a financial center, reduced no longer like before. Hong Kong was big, important financial center. Now, no more. Hong Kong, known for drama, kung fu drama, whatever drama, no more. Because of that role of backdoor to China, no more. Okay. I just explained to you anthropo. Now let's go back to our note. External sector, import, export, re-export. Re-export is anthropo. Who played that? Singapore, Hong Kong. Hong Kong before. Not Hong Kong now. Who played that? Singapore. Then, long time ago, until today, Singapore. Because of the location advantage. Unless, yes, let me finish with this one. Lately, this year, the year 2023, there's been a news already. That's coming on top of this US China tech war. You know, first US stopped Huawei from being offered, being sold in China and in the United States, and now all this tech war and rivalry, this, especially in chips, to avoid China getting the technology to produce. USA want to stop China from getting their hands to the technology to produce advanced microchips, because advanced microchip very important. Whoever control that technology on advanced microchips will be superpower, because that can go to many technologies, especially military technology. So what is advanced microchips? Three nano. Samsung in the process to get to 3 nano, and will be getting to 2 nano. The smaller, the better. You know, we have handphone. Why handphone? Everything gets smaller because the chips get smaller and faster. 2 nano. What is a nanometer? Nanometer is 1 billionth of a meter. Say a meter, 1 meter long. That meter is divided into 1 billion, not million, not divided into 1,000, not 1 million, but 1 billion divided. So you take just one of that 1 billion. So that's a nano, 1 billionth of a meter. That size so small. So the smaller. So anything, chips, usually 21 nanometer and below. Usually 21, but 21 it's becoming old already. Now we're talking about to get to 2. Samsung is trying to get to 3 nanometer size chips. Not only 3, trying to get to 2, smaller. Yeah, I'm trying to finish with this one. So the blockade, Hong Kong, the back door to China, no more, and the trade war that's happening today. Yes, here I was trying to finish with this one, my last story on this. There has been a news this year, and that happens on top of the crisis between USA and China. What crisis? What war? It's not war, fighting. It's the fighting over the import and export restriction. So USA restricted even other companies like Samsung, who opened a factory. Samsung has a factory in China to produce microchips. USA imposed Samsung on Samsung. You cannot expand your production in China. Yeah, that kind of thing. The tech war between USA and the American companies cannot export equipments and technologies that can make advanced, I explained to you, advanced 3 nanometer. US government blocked, put sanction on companies. You cannot export equipment that can make advanced microchips to China. That kind of war. So during this time that happened since President Trump, President Biden, Trump, about 5 years ago. Since then, Trump already stopped. Trump did the highway, the blockade on Huawei in China. So news this year, on top of that, the tech war between USA and China, is that China is now offering Thailand to make a canal here. And if that really happens, that will make USA even more angrier, because you are spoiling my baby, Singapore. You dig a canal here, this will cut the major income for Singapore. Ships will no longer need to go to Singapore, just go through here. China is offering Thailand. That's the latest in news. Finish. Now, that's the external sector, investment, trade. I want to show you but he continued to play that role behind, okay? Oh, 2-3 days ago, I just remember, sudden death, October 27 in Shanghai. Yeah, he passed away October 27. So that's a in the news. In the news say it's very strange. There was a rumor, I don't know true or not, that he died not of natural causes. Something happened to him. I don't know. So you from China, you know much more. Which one is correct? I'm just pointing out. I follow China, so I can talk about China from what I follow. Okay. Now we want to know how a country is so dependent on external sector, especially when we say external sector, two things: trade and investment, especially trade. Let's look at Malaysia. Total trade to GDP. I think we'll take a break for maybe 3 minutes. Look at this. Total trade of Malaysia to GDP. You know, you take GDP, what is GDP? Gross Domestic Product, which is the total production of economy, total output of the economy. That amount, and you take the international trade amount, import and export of goods and services total, import and export, not only goods, but also services total, for Malaysia is 144%, meaning that trade total is bigger than Malaysia's GDP, Malaysia's economy, the size. 144%. Let's look at United States. United States is only 25%. So we take a break. Just look at that. Okay, now I'm back. 140 Malaysia. 25% only. No, for United States. China. Okay. 38%. China. 25 USA, 38 China. $140 Malaysia. Japan. %36.9%. 36. China again. 36. Japan. 38. About the same. China 38. Japan 36. USA 25. Malaysia 140. I'm repeating this. Make sure we remember. UK. $68. Canada 67. Thailand. Thailand is about Malaysia. Malaysia 140. Thailand 133. Similar. Indonesia. $45 only. Let's look at Singapore and Anthropo. 336. If Malaysia you think was so big, I mean so large, the percentage, Singapore 3 times, 336. So what can we conclude? The smaller the size of the economy, the larger. Like Malaysia, $114. The smaller the size of the economy, the higher the dependence of that country on external trade, on international trade. Malaysia, a small size, open economy. Open means dependent on import and export. 140%. Not geography, it is the size of the GDP. Take Canada, for example. $67%. Canada, after Russia, is the second largest country in terms of size, area size in the world. Big, but the percentage of Canada trade, 67%. So it's got nothing to do with the area, it's got to do with the size of the economy. export only. Imports, we want the total trade. We want the total merchandise trade, 779 plus 757. Something about, we're talking about 14 trillion. 14 billion? I don't know. Yeah, 1.4 trillion dollars. 1.5 trillion. USA, only 25% ratio to GDP. Doesn't mean that this low, doesn't mean the absolute number total is small. No. Okay, let us say total trade. Total. United States is the second largest trading nation, behind only China, with over 7 trillion in export and imports of goods and services. Just now, Canada, 67% ratio to GDP. USA, only 25%. But Canada, only 1.4 or 1.5 trillion only. This 7 trillion, if it is second, maybe China, 7 something. 7.9, I don't know, China. Let's do 7 trillion for United States. Export and import, we have to add this 3.3 plus 2.6, that's 9. 5.9 trillion. So, yes, 5.9 trillion. Yes, add together. 7 trillion United States, absolute number. Only 25% ratio to GDP. 5.9 trillion only. Second one. Oh, not true. 7 trillion United States. No, this must be, you must add something else here. Total trade. I want to get total trade. So again, wrong. We have to find a very clean data. So the largest trading country is China. Second is United States. Okay, 7 trillion United States. So China must be higher than 7 trillion. I don't find it quickly, so time is limited. We don't want to get, to spend time on that. Let's look at Malaysia.
Thanks for sharing.
Say that again.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. Who's that?
I'm still through you too.
Oh. Okay. All right. Let's look at Malaysia total trade. 140%. Malaysia. You think it's big, the number? No. Only this much. Total export of in thousand. 100,000 this million. Trillion. 2.2 plus about 4. 5 Small number. Okay? Not as large as United States. So what I'm saying to you, small percentage to total GDP doesn't mean the volume is small. United States total trade to GDP oh why I'm not a robot. Oh, so much. Unnecessarily. Only 25%. It means that the bigger the size of the economy, okay, more and more products are being sold and bought within the domestic economy. But for a small country like Malaysia, the domestic market is small. You have to export to get the income for the country. On the other hand, America is big. Domestic economy is so big. So international trade as a percentage to GDP is smaller because the products are circulating, most of them being circulated, sold and purchased within the country domestic economy. That's why I explained only 25% because of the size of the GDP. This is the country ranking, the economy, the size. USA, number 1 size. China, number 2. Germany, yeah. I posted on my Facebook and also on my Instagram. So, and also on my Instagram. You can read it. That's my, you can request for a friend with me. That's my profile. That's my profile. You can request friend. I want to go to my page. That was profile. This is my page. I put on my page the news, latest news. That's class live. This one from Asia Times. Germany will take over Japan as the 3rd largest economy. third largest. Japan has been number 3, but Japan has been so sluggish, which started with the lost decade of Japan in 1990s. That lost decade, meaning the whole decade, 10 years, is a loss for Japan. Lost year doesn't mean losing, profit. No, lost year means only sluggish growth, 0.1% GDP growth, 0.1 every year, 0.1, 0.2, 0.1, 0.2. That was 1990s in Japan. Until today, sluggish economy, not growing fast enough. So the lost decade of Japan. So here, the news, when was the news? October 26, 23, this year, about last week. Germany will become number 3. But look at this, whether it's correct or not, because Wikipedia, is people contributed. Number 3 already, according to here, but it's very close. Japan, India, UK, France, Italy, Brazil, Canada. You see. So it's the size of the economy makes it. USA only 25% to GDP. So the smaller Malaysia, I don't know how much. Malaysia, a small economy, very, very dependent on trade. USA, less dependent because most of product are consumed domestically. Going domestically. But the amount of import and export is huge, bigger than Malaysia's import and export. Don't get wrong on that, because it's so big. So that's Malaysia, and I think we discussed on this already last week. Feedback, please, because I'm teaching 4 sets. For this set, I think I came to this right already. Hello, feedback, please. The first industrial revolution based on invention, England, innovation, and later on, second, and this in the third industrial revolution, new division of labor internationally, because the first division was rich country, the laborers are in industrial production. The laborers work in the factory to make industrial products, whereas laborers in poor countries, developing countries, work in the farm. That was according to principle of specialization based on absolute advantage, Adam Smith, comparative advantage, Ricardo. And the first industrial revolution, the revolutions got to do with the change from using human power to mechanical power based on engine. So the invention of steam engine was very important part of this industrial revolution, steam engine, and then electricity, and then here innovation on those. And the third industrial revolution with the CAD/CAM, computer assisted manufacturing. You design a product using software. That's already in third industrial revolution through use of robotics. And that happened, that Japan joined the League of Developed Countries, Industrial Countries, followed by Korea, the NIS, and followed by ASEAN, 4 ASEAN, not all the 10.